And what do they have to offer? KBC Channel 1 has organized a gubernatorial debate for Machakos aspirants this Thursday, 19th May, live from Scott Christian University, Machakos, exclusively on KBC Channel 1.
Kwa mimi ni wewe, ningetafuta passport, nikatafuta visa, nikatafuta nyasi za watu.
Wako na baba kwa hatutaki hapa, so we don't have a choice.
Mom, let's not try it.
Inajaribu kukusaidia lakini wewe uharibu kila kitu.
Mwachaje? Mimi nikikwambia ufuate jambo, wewe unaona mimi mjinga sana, si ndio? Wewe huwezi kuelewana na mtu yote bila ya kutiana mangumi.
Good morning, 18th day of May 2022. We are glad that you're up and early to watch Good Morning Kenya on KBC Channel 1. Thank you so much for your time as well. Now, ahead this program, today we have got an amazing lineup for your guest. One, we have got James Njoroge Mushiri, who is running for the Deputy Governor, that is of Nairobi County, as well as IEBC Commissioner Justice Nyang'aya. Let's talk about matters politics as well as preparation on the side of IEBC ahead of the August polls. That and much more coming later on. But then let me introduce the team, starting with Jane with me here. Jane, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic.
As rightfully mentioned, it is the 18th day of May 2022. We do trust your morning has been off to a beautiful start. I am Jane Mamboy. We are glad that you have chosen to start your morning with us right here on Good Morning Kenya. We welcome you to share with us your thoughts. Use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle ever remains to be at KBC Channel 1. Doreen.
Your roots are showing.
Hey, the excitement. Excitos.
Anyway, a beautiful morning to your viewers. Then kama kawaida, we always appreciate you just for making time to join us Monday through Thursday, 6:30 all the way to 10 a.m. And this morning, even as we shall be looking at our dailies on our next segment, there's really quite an interesting article that I've just spotted, and this actually puts into detail why Kalonzo divorced Azimio team in a quickie. So we'd really be just trying to see what exactly really transpired in those few hours after or in between or even before that announcement was made on Monday. Nonetheless, we are here up and early to bring you all that we have in store for you this Wednesday morning up until 10 a.m. So stay put up until that time. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okello. Regina.
Indeed, we are glad that you made time to be with us this morning. This is Good Morning Kenya, the best way to start your morning, and the team is full of life and energy. And one of us is quite ecstatic, and that is none other than Lady Jane. Why? Because her son turns 2 today. Congratulations, woman. Thank you, thank you. You've been a great mom, and you'll continue being so. I'm meant to that.
Strength of a woman.
Yes, superwoman. It takes quite a lot to actually bring up children. So it's no mean feat. As Alpha celebrates his birthday, kudos to you, Ma.
Thank you, Mama.
Aside from that, Kenya has taken the lead in as far as sub-Saharan Africa is concerned after the Africities summit, talking about, sustainable urbanization kicked off in Kisumu. Those are some of the stories that have been making headlines in the last 24 hours, including it was a day out for presidential running mates, so to speak. That is none other than Martha Karua and Rigathi Gachagua. They made headlines yesterday evening, and we're going to be having a moment to look at what was said during their homecomings, so to speak. So much has been said following their appointments there by the various presidential aspirants under the various arms. We have, Azimio as well as Kenya Kwanza. And also yesterday, Jimmy Wanjige also unveiled his running mate there officially, being that he had already done that, already picked a running mate before the deadline. That was the 16th of May. But yesterday, we got to meet who Jimmy Wanjigi had picked to be by his side ahead of the August 9th poll. So do keep it right here. We welcome your feedback. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle is at Ray Manyara. In not too long, we're going to be looking at those stories that have been making headlines. Do not go away. Indeed, you're just in time for the news right here or in the headlines on KBC Channel 1, just in case you're not able to watch it from the comfort of your home in front of a television set. Well, we're streaming live on our various platforms. That is Facebook as well as KBC Channel 1 live stream on YouTube. Now, the 9th edition of the Africities Summit kicked off in Kisumu City, with the focus being on sustainable urban development across the continent. The summit brought together an estimated 8,000 delegates, among them key leaders across the continent. President Uhuru Kenyatta graced the forum. Wycliffe Okech has the details.
First day of the Africities Summit in Kisumu City. Delegations from across and beyond the African continent streamed to the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium for a summit being held in an intermediary city for the first time since inception. The summit brings together at least 8,000 delegates, including key leaders across the African continent, exhibitors and international media practitioners, rallied by the common goal of charting the way forward in devising homegrown solutions to the challenges bedeviling African cities. Led by President Uhuru Kenyatta, who officially opened the conference, speakers underscored the need by African cities to devise a common approach in addressing challenges in the urban settlements.
So as we convene to deliberate on how we can establish a shift towards a new urban paradigm and unleash the potential of intermediary cities in fostering inclusive development and the realization of our SDGs and all other social economic development initiatives, we must keep in mind that Africa is becoming increasingly urbanized.
We wished to send a clear message that the reality of our continent is reflected in the way we treat our intermediary cities.
The AU has developed also the African Charter on Values and Principles of Decentralization, Local Governance and Local Development to facilitate implementation of decentralization, which remains a challenge in many countries.
Kenya's 2010 constitution also receiving plaudits for birthing the devolution concept.
Further, county governments are the generators of spatial plans and development plans that are aimed at promoting evidence-based decision-making.
Intermediary cities also have the potential to address inequalities among groups that have arisen from central power structures that disproportionately channel resources to few urban areas.
President Kenyatta used the platform to highlight his government's contribution to the development of intermediary cities through infrastructural development as envisaged in the Big Four agenda.
These concerted actions have been through the Kenya Devolution Support Program, the Urban Support Program, the Kenya Slum Upgrade Program, and the Kenya Informal Settlement Improvements Program.
The theme for this edition of the Africities Summit lies in the role of intermediary cities in the implementation of the UN Agenda 2030 as well as the AU Agenda 2063, both of which seek to improve living conditions for the populace.
There is a deficit of housing and housing finance, with only 15% of urban dwellers in Africa able to afford to purchase their own homes.
It's therefore obvious that we are already out of time to have our cities and urban areas connected by road, rail, air, ICT, and waterways.
The summit is set to run up to May 21, with the local government seeking to sell the lakeside city as viable and prime for investment.
Now, the Africities continues with reports coming in that even, some actors and actresses have joined that particular forum to just look at what is attractive tourist attractions within Kisumu County. And one of the notable names is none other than Lupita Nyong'o, who's brought in international actors and actresses to visit her home county for that particular forum. Now, back to matters politics. Deputy President William Ruto has taken issue with his opponents over what he termed as engaging in deceitful politics. Ruto accompanied his running mate Rigathi Gachagua and was speaking in Nyeri. He asked the leaders to focus on issues that are of value to the nation.
Deputy President William Ruto was in Mathira, Nyeri County for the burial of James Rigathi Gachagua, the brother to his running mate Rigathi Gachagua. It is here that Ruto took issue with his opponents, whom he accused of engaging in what he said to be deceitful politics detrimental to national unity.
That is why on the 9th of August, the people of Kenya must reject deceit and must reject deception so that we can free our country and move our country into the future united and prosperous.
Ruto saying that the Kenya Kwanza team was keen on finding solutions to the country's economy, while accusing his opponents of being driven by the need to change the constitution to fit their interests.
Tofauti kati yetu na wale tunashindana na wao ni kama usiku na mchana. Wanatuambia ya kwamba wanataka kurekebisha katiba, kufaidi viongozi. Sisi tunasema tunataka kubadilisha uchumi, kufaidi wa Kenya wa kawaida mamilioni.
People are being told that you shall hold this position or hold that position. But you will note with a lot of precision that the Kenya Kwanza coalition document talks of parties nominating individuals who shall be considered for those posts. It does not go to the point of saying it shall be so and so.
We are focusing the future, and the future is bright, is visible, and we can see Kenya reinventing itself.
The DP defending his candidature alongside Rigathi Gachagua, terming him as a hard worker who is people-centered.
Every other time I've had a conversation with Rigathi Gachagua, it has been about the people. If we are not discussing GMI, we are discussing how to improve the lot of ordinary business people.
You shall have nothing but total support and loyalty from Rigathi Gachagua, because that is the way he has been brought up. Mine is yes sir, yes sir, yes sir.
Women are not looking for one position, Your Excellency. We are looking for equal participation and possibly 50% of your government. And we shall not accept a bait of one position.
Now, while that was happening, Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party running mate Martha Karua received a rousing welcome at her Kirinyaga County homecoming. During that particular homecoming, after she was unveiled as Azimio La Umoja Party running mate, Karua, who also toured Murang'a County, urged Kenyans to interrogate leaders on what they have done to change the lives of Kenyans. Karua visited the county day after she was named as Raila Odinga's running mate in the August presidential polls. She said Azimio coalition had the best interest of Kenyans at heart. Leaders accompanying Karua implored residents to support her State House bid to ensure she becomes the first female deputy president.
In the August 9 polls,
hii ni wakati wa
wa kujiuliza ni timu gani unaweza amini, ni timu gani itakuletea mabadiliko. Kama maisha ya mtu ile tumesikia kwao ni kazi haieleweki, kama hakuna mahali mtu ameenda akafanya kazi ya kusifika, leo hii sio ataanza kufanya kazi yako.
She said the Azimio la Umoja presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga will soon tour the county. Karua implored county residents to give the coalition a chance to serve them.
Nitakuwa nafanya kazi yako kikamilifu. Naye baba Raila Amolo Odinga, maisha make mote, arutete wera, inawezekana. Azimio!
Leaders accompanying Karua asked residents to support her State House bid to ensure she becomes the first female deputy president.
Na huyu mama si mama tu hivi amepigania Kenya miaka mingi. Ako na track record ya kupigania haki za Wakenya, na ndio sababu baba ambaye pia ako na hiyo track record wameshikana pamoja wabadilishe Kenya.
Hata mtoto wetu wa Ngema eti ya kwamba ni mama wa kwanza katika Kenya mzima kuwa naibu wa rais.
Still on matters politics, Safina party presidential candidate Jimmy Wanjigi has nominated Willis Evans Otieno, an advocate of the High Court, as his presidential running mate for the August general election. Meanwhile, gospel musician Ruben Kipgame, who is eyeing the top seat too, unveiled Irene Ngendo Kamau as his running mate. Speaking after the unveiling, Kigame, an independent candidate, challenged political parties to comply with the 2/3 gender rule.
Jimmy Wanjigi, who is seeking the presidency in a Safina ticket, has nominated Willis Evans Otieno, an advocate of the High Court, as his running mate. Promising to revolutionize the economy by creating business opportunities, Wanjigi said Safina party will save Kenya from the high debts the country is experiencing.
We are resetting Kenya, and that's what we need to do. And reset, we don't want to carry the baggage of yesterday forward. This baggage is full.
Otieno accepted the nomination, saying time for young people to take high leadership positions have been long overdue.
I work largely on public law, public interest litigation, working with local communities to use the law as a tool to bring positive change to communities. Most of the cases which I do are about putting governments to check.
Meanwhile, gospel musician Ruben Kigame, who is vying as an independent candidate, unveiled Irene Ngendo Kamau as his running mate.
Building Kenya implies building people, building citizens, building you and me, building every child, building every woman.
One day, one time, God knew this day would happen. Yes. And it has come. The people that lived in darkness have seen the light.
Kigame challenged leaders to comply with the 2/3 gender rule, promising to address what he termed education gaps from the grassroots levels, stressing on the need to stabilize the economy.
Questions have been arising in regard to, naming of, deputy running mates ahead of the August deadline elections there, and if they met the deadline. Well, we are made to understand that the names had already been submitted to IEBC by the deadline, but now the parties chose to make those official announcements way after the May 16th deadline. Now, still keeping up with matters politics, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission are exploring ways of barring politicians with integrity issues from contesting in the August 9th general election. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Nudin Haji, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Chief Executive Officer Twalib Barak have said they will use available avenues to ensure Chapter 6 of the Constitution is fully adhered to.
sidelines of the ongoing 4th Regional Conference of Africa, Indian Ocean and the East Africa Association of Prosecutors in Mombasa, that the offices of the Director of Public Prosecution and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission took on Parliament for circumventing Chapter 6 of the Constitution, allowing politicians facing graft cases vie for elective seats.
Sasa mtu mpaka ana record ya kukimbia jela. Na bado nyinyi mnasema huyu jamani innocent. Record ziko. Prison. Ziko. Mtu alikimbia jela, na mtu akimbia jela anataka nafanya nini? Bas, tutatafuta tumshike na tumrudishe. Tuambiwe ni siasa nini? Hakuna shida. Unajua huwezi kufurahisha kila mtu. Ukitaka kufurahisha kila mtu itakuwa shida.
Haiwezekani kuwa umekuwa impeached kwa ajili umefanya kosa fulani ama kadha wa kadha kule Nairobi, na sasa umetoka kule Nairobi waja kwa ofisi kutafuta ofisi nyingine kwa mji mwingine. Hilo jambo nadhani haliwezekani na itakuwa ni kucheza shere ama kuchezea shere sheria.
They reiterated that they shall work round the clock to push for justice and have a free and fair election.
What we are doing as ODPP is prioritizing our resources, our expertise and our abilities to ensure that we have the requisite or that we are able to pay attention to elections in Kenya, and that violence and abuse of processes are not experienced this time round.
Mbarak said that already his office of seized with information of biogas certificates being presented by some candidates, and he will be liaising with IEBC to ensure such individuals are not cleared.
Saa hii tushaanza kupata habari. Kuna watu wanataka kupigania governance. Na wana degree, lakini semekana limaza form 2. Wengine sasa 7 liver. Sasa class cha 7 alafu uko na degree. Second ulisoma wapi? Kwa hivyo kuna shida nyingi, lakini sasa sheria ndo zinatusumbua.
Treasury and Planning Cabinet Secretary Ukuru Yatani, who opened the forum, noted that the sharing of information amongst the countries in the continent will play a critical role in solving the emerging transnational organized crimes.
I think most of us in the region have experienced or continue to experience to a great extent the adverse effect of terrorism and corruption, which distorts resources and denies the public the opportunity to get better service delivery when the public is actually paying for it. This is a very important moment that we need to now share those lessons and see how best we can deal with them.
Off to Parliament, where legislators are divided over whether to approve or reject the nomination of Dr. Cecilia Mbinya Mutuku and John Ogalo to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Now speaking during a session on Tuesday afternoon, leaders poked holes on the suitability of the two to serve at the Integrity Commission. A section of MPs sought to have the House reject the two nominees, asking their counterparts to scrutinize the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee that found them suitable. The two, Dr. Cecilia Mbinya Mutuku and John Ogalo, were vetted by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, which in its report recommends the House approves their names. The legislators questioned the manner in which Dr. Cecilia handled the integrity question while serving at the Kenya Bureau of Standards and on non-tax compliance of Ogalo, who appeared virtually before the committee. The House will vote on the matter during the next sitting.
And the Commission, I think that is very unhealthy. And we as people who are consuming this information, we do not care what happens. We just want investigation and prosecutions done. They must find a meeting point between the Commission and the DPP in how they are going to investigate and prosecute. So, Mr. Speaker, we have now reinvigorated this office. There will be no excuse at all from the Commission in how crimes concerning corruption will be investigated and ultimately prosecuted. I want to support this, and I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for entertaining this motion before the floor. Thank you very much.
About fight against corruption. But I'm not convinced, Mr. Speaker, that the two nominees have what it takes
to fight corruption against this country. I'm humbly requesting this House, Mr. Speaker, if we really want to continue with the fight against corruption, to reject these two people, these two nominees, Mr. Speaker, so that we can get qualified Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, who can be able to do this work for purposes of helping this country to fight against corruption.
If you live away for 20 years and so, surely, Honorable Speaker, you cannot purport to be able to understand the issues of integrity and everything. Honorable Speaker, this is not a good nominee.
Kenya is not short of right people. Kenya is not short of people who have not done bad things, Mr. Speaker. So if I go back and check from this document, Mr. Speaker, one who fed Kenyans with wrong water, she's the one who wants to become to oversight. Mr. Speaker, I totally disagree, and let us reject these two names in totality, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We'll be keeping tabs on that, on which way the legislature is going to go in regard to the nomination of the two. Now, talking about the gender rule, women have been challenged to use the 2/3 gender rule window to vie for various elective seats in the general election. Kenya National Commission on Human Rights urged the women to take advantage of the prevailing conducive political atmosphere to boost their numbers in the political arena.
The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights and Elections Observation Group had a session with a section of women to analyze the results of the just concluded party primaries. The lobby groups are saying the number of women nominees in the party primaries was higher compared to the previous election years.
We had earlier, before the primaries, suggested that one of the ways in which you can be able to deal with the women and the 2/3 gender issue is to the parties to identify women, strong women in their strongholds and offer them tickets. So some of them did that. We also saw, of course, some of the emerging young people, young women like Toto, who has become a celeb as a result of the same, coming through the UDA process. So those are positives. The ideologies within the political parties be crafted in a way that the respect and the participation of women is given prominence. If we're only going to do things just to fill, gaps and say that, yeah, tick that box, already we have a women league, we have a women caucus, it won't help.
The groups challenging women to take advantage of the 2/3 gender rule to push for more elective seats.
Women will participate better, legally and constitutionally, if truly we adhere to the rule of law.
IEBC and the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties pledged to support the women in their political ambitions.
Even as we try to help IEBC enforce the candidate lists to have a third, then we are sure that from the political party side, where the decisions are being made, at least that one is well taken care of.
Kwa hivyo ni vizuri uwe tayari kwa open, usome hata lile unalolijua kwa kimila, kwa dini yetu kwambia, ukimsikia mtu hata kama jambo walijua, jifanye hujui kwa lengo la kutaka kujua Mungu. Maana ukimblock mtu mwambie mimi hiyo najua, basi atakwambia tena lingine. Basi endelea na kujua.
Well, if you thought the wind of change is only blowing in Kenya, just look at what is happening across the globe when it comes to women in leadership. From Kamala Harris in the US, we have our very own Martha Karua there, appointed as, as a deputy running mate, or rather deputy president, if indeed Azimio take up the first top seat after the August 9th. And neighboring Tanzania, we have Samia Suluhu. And even in France, we understand that Emmanuel Macron has picked a woman to be his deputy and help him with matters politics as he, seeks a second run in as far as the second term is concerned. All these are available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. For now, we take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Nikiuliza hii koti uvae t-shirt alafu tolewe tena. Unaweza kubali?
Mama.
Yes.
Wakati mimi ilikuja ikatoa wewe nguo, unasema ikatoa wewe nguo ikararuia wewe. Uliona mimi?
Mwiniona tena mbeleni.
Sijawahi kuona tena mbeleni lakini
hujawahi. Ngoja, hujawahi, si ndio?
Bibi ya Wasfarat.
Sasa hiyo ni nini?
Wasfara ni nini?
Sasa wewe unatolewa nguo gani na orende yako ni suka? Si ninasika tu saindi moja nasunguka hivi nguo yote inatoka.
Ni nani ametuma mimi kurarua hiyo Foster?
Ni senator wako.
Ene Kamin. Ni nani amevua watu nguo?
Ni senator wako.
Ni nani yuko na makosa?
Ni senator wako.
Ni nani atashtakiwa?
Ni senator wako.
Smile. Ooh la la la. Checked in rehab, and baby you're my disease. You're my disease, yeah. It's like I checked in rehab. 'Cause you only need the light when it's burning low. Only hate the road when you're missing home.
Just make a wish. You'll never want the things, baby. Give me that good loving.
Around the world, she means the most to me. Caribbean girl.
Good morning once again. This is KBC Channel 1 and you are watching In the Headlines. I'm Regina Manyara. Now we speak matters business, where Twiga Foods has launched a 1 billion shilling subsidiary focused on modern and commercial farming. The company says that Twiga Fresh will focus on supplying informal retailers and urban consumers with lower cost, better quality and safe food. Details of this from the corporate scene. Standing at 5,199 meters, Mount Kenya is the second highest peak in Africa and is one of the key adventure tourism destinations. Its scenic views with diverse wildlife make it a unique destination.
It's exciting, it's beautiful. Yeah, there are a few things which are good, many things are good, and a few things can be the enablers to make it even better. We will have a Marshall Plan for Mount Kenya National Park.
Speaking during the 4-day hiking expedition that aimed at boosting the domestic tour portfolio, Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala said adventure, hiking and mountaineering experiences are key catalysts in the recovery of tourism business in Kenya. Still on tourism matters, Radisson Blu Hotel in Nairobi has resumed operations after 2 years under new leadership after finalization of the acquisition of the facility.
Congratulations to Radisson Blu. We know you have the product, you have the service, and we will all go to support you. So, yes, congratulations for this reopening, and we look forward to better service.
We had around 300 staff before we closed back 2 years ago, and we've employed just over 220. So we're back to a good number that can run this hotel, but keeping in mind that COVID really affected us, we still will try and see how we can manage with what we have.
The hotel is banking on its modern style and ability to let guests focus on a work-life balance to attract traffic. And Twiga Foods has invested 1.5 billion shillings in a system that would help reduce fluctuation of food prices by directly linking farmers to consumers.
And essentially, this is a project that I'm very, very proud of, because what we've done in a very, very short span of time is to step change food production in the country with regard to things like tomatoes, onions and watermelons. And working with IFC, we've started building protocols in terms of how we're assessing our impact or how we're actually looking at food production on the ground.
The investment targets to scale up the efficient production of domestic horticultural staples like onions, tomatoes and watermelons.
Now, before we bring the news to a close, let's just give you some quick updates on what has been happening in the sporting arena. Is that the National Athletics Trials for the Buckingham 2022 Commonwealth Games that was slated for this Friday and Saturday have been postponed to next month. We will be keeping tabs on that. And our triumphant Deaf Olympics participants jetted into the country yesterday evening. Now, Kenya won 5 gold, 7 silver and 12 bronze and was ranked 10th globally and 1st in Africa. Details of this and other stories are available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. For sportsmen and women who participated in the Summer Deaf Olympics in Brazil, kudos. Continue doing us proud as Kenyans. Now we take a quick breather. When we're back, we're going to be sampling the various dailies that we have with us in studio.
All right, let's now move on to the next segment where we get to have a quick look at the papers. I have a copy of the Daily Nation, and politics still take center stage. Pictured therein, we have Raila Odinga and Deputy President William Ruto, and the whole question is how the game has changed. Now Ukambani is up for grabs. Now Western seems to be undecided, and the whole gender card has also been thrown in the wax. But as the race to State House continues to heat up, battlegrounds and ideals are becoming more apparent for the individual coalitions, but still the two front runners, Raila Odinga and Ruto, still have a lot to do to ensure that they secure the 50+1 vote. Here they go on to give a comparison between the 2017 registered voters versus who voted and the expected number of voters that have been registered for the 2022 general elections, and an estimate or a rough estimate as to who might vote. And they also compare the Uhuru Ruto numbers back in 2017 and the Raila Kalonzo numbers back in 2017, focusing on Mount Kenya, Western and Ukambani. I'll be giving you these details in just a bit. Away from that, we have the story concerning the backlash that Sauti Sol have been receiving on the social media platforms due to the complaint that they filed in regards to the use of their music without their explicit authority. So many people have had a lot to say about this, others supporting the group, others criticizing them, saying that, you know, it was uncalled for. I mean, there's so many other artists whose songs were used, and that is the argument that at least one part of the social media group are using to just send their backlash towards this boy band group. But I will be giving you details, which I'm sure you've also interacted with on the social platforms, in regards to the responses and reactions that have been received so far in regards to this suit that they say they will pursue till the very end. Away from that, Africities Gala opens up with call for elevation of municipalities has also been featured here. That is roughly the front page of the Daily Nation for you this Wednesday morning. Victor.
All right, and on to the Star newspaper on the front page. How Gachagua Karua will shape Ruto Raila battle. How Gachagua Karua will shape Ruto Raila battle. One is known as champion of justice and women's rights. The other was Uhuru's PA, that is personal assistant. He's famous as a powerful grassroots mobilizer. All right, showdown dooms as running mates energize campaigns. That is what's on the front page of the Star. 12-day window that could reunite Raila and Kalonzo. I will give you details briefly and shortly. EACC, Sonko should go and finish jail term. Now, the ghost of Shimo La Tewa prison may scupper former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko's bid to become Mombasa Governor. This follows a new recommendation that he be arrested and sent back to prison to complete his jail term. And on the front page, I have a picture of DP Ruto. Yes, there you have it. DP Ruto and his running mate, that is Rigathi Gachagua, and on the other side is Martha Karua Honorable and Kanini Kega. They were out yesterday on a campaign trail. Very quickly on the second page, Karua receives rousing welcome in Kirinyaga, security beefed up and traffic disrupted in parts of the county. Senior state officials, politicians and supporters visited various areas in the county. The procession started at the Makutano Junction at around 11 a.m. and headed in Mutithi, Mutithi, Murabara and Kutus. That was yesterday. Azimio boss pledges economic liberation if elected president. That is Honorable Raila Odinga speaking yesterday in Kisumu during a roadside rally. The story of Sonko. EACC wants Sonko arrested, taken back to Shimolatewa jail. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission yesterday recommended that Sonko be re-arrested and taken back to Shimolatewa GK prison, from where authorities say he escaped in 1997. EACC Chief Executive Twalib Mbarak lamented in Mombasa on Tuesday that loopholes in election laws were preventing them from successfully barring politicians with integrity issues from vying for public office. Let's wait and see how that will unfold. As that was happening, how Gachagua, Karua will shape Ruto-Raila battle. So here it is. Now, Azimio flag bearer Raila Odinga and Kenya Kwanza's Deputy President William Ruto settled on starkly contrasting deputies. Now, both have distinctive, positive credentials, history, and political competitive. This is a whole story that you can take a look at, and let me give you a rundown on the number of registered voters so far in Mount Kenya as at February 6th, 2022. This is according to the IEBC. Meru has 780,858 registered voters. Tharaka Nithi has 234,618. Embu 337,627. Nyandarua has 362,357. Nyeri has 492,046 registered voters. Kirinyaga 378,580 registered voters. 628,416 in Muranga. And lastly, Kiambu has 1,293,309. Now, this is the vote that all these presidential candidates will be yearning for. Who will carry the day? Doreen.
All right, why Kalonzo divorced Azimio team in a haste? This is what you're waking up to this morning on the People Daily. And details are now just emerging. This is as mentioned by the Makueni senator, that is Mutula Kilonzo Jr., who is also the Wiper vice chair. He says that they had long been asking for the coalition agreement and also try to see which position perhaps different leaders will get, as it were. But they were not given that agreement. He also further on says that he had even written to the Registrar of Political Parties, sort of like to intervene and see how they could get this document, but that was also to no avail. In fact, he further on says that they still didn't even know what position Kalonzo was going to get up until Monday when that announcement was made. So this, amongst other issues, which when you get the details I'll be telling you about, is part of what informed that quick haste in which Kalonzo made as it pertains to moving away from Azimio La Umoja. So even as that is happening, the allied parties now tell Wiper leader that he is on his own. This is after that development which came about after he declared that he will be running for presidency and that he will be in the ballot. But again, questions are now emerging, and particularly also just from a section of Kenyans, is that how then will he be in the ballot? This is because he announced that on Monday, which was on the 16th of May. When you look at the IEBC timelines, the date was set on 28th April, whereby each presidential candidate was supposed to have declared his or her bid. In fact, the 28th was set for both the presidential candidates as well as the running mate, up until these leaders went to the IEBC for that extension, and then that was when it was extended from 28th to 16th, particularly for running mates, for presidents as well as governors. So if he declared his bid, and also part of what he mentioned in his presser is that his name as he was speaking was already the IEBC on the 16th, then what does this mean in terms of following the law and the dates? Because again, also for those that were running as independents, the timeline was as of 2nd May. So clearly, what does this mean when it comes to us following the law, or even just sticking to the timelines that have been set, and when it comes to these elections by IEBC? Again, even as that is developing there, Muranga Women Representative Safina Shege is now telling Kalonzo to reconsider his decision, saying that what he decided on was very quick and in a haste, and he might just perhaps want to reconsider his decision in terms of choosing to going at it alone. Again, even also as this is all happening, KANU has come to say that they are still behind Azimio la Umoja. Remember that this also had caused a lot of questions on that Monday after the chairman, that was Nick Salat, was attending the Azimio announcement of the running mate, and the KANU chair was attending that presser that was being held by Kalonzo Musyoka. But even that also happened on Monday, KANU now says that they are really just right behind Azimio la Umoja. So clearly, where does this leave Kalonzo Musyoka, even as he has decided that he's actually going to be running for presidency under the Wiper party ticket? And lastly, actually the main read on this paper this morning is battle for the 4 regions that hold key to status. So even as all these leaders just have unveiled their running mates, there are key regions in this country whereby it's being looked at as vote-rich regions. Obviously, Mount Kenya topping the list, and this is Mount Kenya West and Mount Kenya East. There's Nairobi Coast as well as Western region. Actually, these are the areas whereby all these candidates are looking to at least get a mouthful of votes, if at all they are going to win the presidency. And this is out of the 22 million already registered voters as it stands for the August 9th general election. Regina.
Indeed, it is the political season, and the front page of this particular daily that I have with me, and this being the Standard, is all about matters politics, and they're looking to none other than Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka there with a big header there. Kalonzo Night Talks, a deal that never was. But some revelation shows that indeed Wiper leader was not as daft as has been said by some of his critics, especially on social media platforms. He had already submitted his name way before to the IEBC as, his name as required as a presidential flag bearer under the Wiper ticket. This was somewhat to be an insurance just in case he was not named as Raila Odinga's running mate. This was a question that a majority was asking. So what happens? The deadline was already over, but it sounds that this, according to this particular article, is that Wiper officials have confirmed that Kalonzo's name was already tendered, or rather handed over to the IEBC to run as a president there. And according to Bobby Mkangi, one of the drafters of the Constitution, he says it would be up to Azimio to challenge Kalonzo's candidacy. And if no challenge from Azimio or whoever, then IEBC will clear him. That is putting the question of the constitutionality of that move by Kalonzo there. Now, Wiper submitted the former VP's name to IEBC before the April 28th deadline. However, Azimio agreement ties, Wiper to the coalition until 3 months after the election. There we've had, his team, Kalonzo's team, coming out to say, and this is Mutula Jr., saying that they had not privy to the contents of that particular agreement. They get to read what positions, what slots, what has been signed therein. So let's wait and see. As you say, politics is quite a fluid moment. Now, this comes at a time when, some leaders within Eastern especially Ukambani there, have been asking Wiper leader to return to the fold, for the sake of the community. Leading the pack is none other than Charity Ngilu, who says Ruto's choice of Rigathi Gachagua as his running mate there, left the coalition with no other option than Martha Wangari Karua as far as the Azimio choice of running mate there. So according to Charity Ngilu, is that for development to come to Eastern, given that she's in her opinion that Azimio is going to carry the day, she wants Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka back in the fold. If he is coming back, well, time will tell. They say even up until the last minute, negotiations are still held. It seems that we just cast the vote, but negotiations have been elsewhere. Now that's the main read on the front page of this particular daily, being the Standard, and it also has a pictorial here that depicts the day, actually the running mate's first day out. We have Rigathi Gachagua there, pictured with the Deputy President William Ruto. Rigathi Gachagua was attending a funeral service for Mathira MP's brother James Renrani in Nyeri yesterday, while at the same time, Azimio presidential running mate Martha Karua was having a homecoming in Kirinyaga yesterday. Other news that are making headlines is that a landmark ruling was made by Justice Odunga there that has given way for a retrial of those who had been who are serving sentences on sexual offences. There, further details are still available on our website for that. And also some good news, looking at that, ICT has been pegged as one of the catalysts of the fourth industrial revolution. And our computer coding syllabus pilot project that is going to involve 100 public primary schools and other 50 public secondary schools. A country is going to be rolled out in the next 1 month. That's just but a sneak peek of what has been given precedence in this particular daily. Jane?
Now, let me just bring you back to this main read here on the front page of the Daily Nation, how the game has changed. And according to this article, they've highlighted some 5 key factors. Number one, looking at the past general elections that we have had, the choice of running mate has never been a big deal as it has been in this particular round. And this issue has been pegged on the fallout between Deputy President and His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. And that is why we are seeing such a fuss around the choice of Deputy President, or rather running mate, and in this case involving Gachagua and Martha Karua, and they're hoping that the nominations are key to securing the vote for the two presidential aspirants. Number two, they have brought in the issue of the Mount Kenya vote. Looking back at the 2017 elections, President Kenyatta and Ruto garnered some 3.3 million votes from Mount Kenya alone, and that constituted about 54% of the entire 8.2 million votes that they secured. And of this 3.3, it is estimated that the Deputy President contributed 30%, which translates to 1 million votes. Now, this time around, the choice of Martha Karua as a running mate has been strategically ensured to just make sure that she redirects this 30%, this 1 million vote block that Ruto commanded in the Mount Kenya region, and redirect it to Raila Odinga. And of course, this with the backing of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta to ensure Raila actually wins the day. Number three, Kalonzo Musyoka now introduced the whole question of a runoff, and this is based on the fact that should he just secure enough votes, just enough votes to ensure that neither Raila nor Ruto will actually cross the 50+1 vote mark. And mind you, the Ukambani region has a 1.7 million vote block. That is the third aspect. Number four, the whole question of voter turnout. Looking at 2017 and also this year's general elections, and more so on the number of people who were expected to register but they did not, the whole question of voter turnout has also been termed as a wild card and could threaten Deputy President's chances in the job, and that's what they have highlighted here. And finally, the whole gender card. Now, Mr. Odinga is betting on Martha Karua's national appeal and the fact that she could be the first woman deputy president for our country. On the flip side, there's Ruto, who actually pledged that he would appoint at least 10 women in his cabinet to sort of counter the gender aspect that has been thrown into the works. So that's the story that has been featured here, looking at the stakes between Raila and Ruto. Again, it's still being considered as a two-horse race, factoring in Raila and Odinga and the fact that they are at the fore. So you can also get to read more of this story as you go about your day and pick which paper best resonates with you. Doreen.
Mentioned that runoff, and I remembered in 2007 whereby there was a similar incident. And even as you're going through the Standard Ray, you've talked about the fact that Wiper had actually submitted then presidential flag bearer, that is Kalonzo Musyoka, already to the IEBC prior. So quote unquote, they're sort of in line with the timelines. But then again, this raises the question of what if Azimio had then nominated Kalonzo as the running mate? Would they have gone to the ORPP and taken back their certificate in terms of what they had submitted, or would it just have remained so that this one person gets to have two positions, that of running mate and that of presidential candidate, given the fact that his name would have been nominated twice? I mean, it just raises a lot of questions, and this also brings the whole aspect of deceit in that connotation. Now, even as that is happening, back to this story of Kalonzo divorcing Azimio and what Makueni Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. said, who also serves as the Wiper Vice Chair, just saying that they had expected any offer to his party leader to be ratified by any agreement deposited at the registrar's office, which didn't happen. Also saying that they were not aware, or in fact they didn't even know what position their party leader was going to hold up until that announcement was made on Monday, whereby Raila Odinga nominated Martha Karua as the running mate and the chief minister went to Kalonzo Musyoka. So this is just part of also what informed that moving away from the coalition. But again, remember, even as we talk about the fact that Wiper had submitted the document earlier to the ORPP, the dates had been set for 28th for those that wanted to run for presidency to submit their names to the ORPP. And the running mate was extended for both presidential candidates as well as governors from 28th to the 16th of May. And this is why we saw what was happening on Sunday as well as Monday, particularly from these two major coalitions. For those that wish to go at it alone, particularly as independent candidates, the dates had been set for the 2nd of May. We really didn't quite hear any talks of perhaps Wiper leader deciding or even choosing or even wanting to perhaps submit his name. So up until this development is just happening, coming out yesterday, that he had done this prior to this announcement that was made by Azimio La Umoja. Again, remember, there's that part of the binding of the coalition agreement whereby it says that you cannot leave 6 months to the general elections. As it stands, we are sort of 82 days to that. So what will the court say in respect to this? This is just some of the developments happening and what we expect to hear even from the courts. And with that, it puts a cap on what we had for you this morning on In the Dailies or In the Headlines. We continue with the rest of the programming with Victor Olo on the other side of studio. Victor, over to you.
Kwa mimi ni wewe, ningetafuta passport nikatafuta visa, nikatafuta nyasi za watu.
Wako na baba kwa hatutaki hapa, so we don't have a choice.
Mom, that's not right.
Inajaribu kukusaidia lakini wewe uharibu kila kitu. Mwachaje? Mwachaje? Mimi nikikwambia ufuate jambo, wewe unaona mimi mjinga sana, si ndio? Wewe huwezi kuelewana na mtu yote bila ya kutiana mangumi.
I seriously think Julieta's losing her mind.
I am going to my daughter's wedding.
Wait a minute, are you serious?
I am absolutely serious.
Paulina doesn't show up, you may just achieve your goal. And if she does, I swear that I will send Gonzalo Murat to prison. I don't believe this.
You don't think that something has happened to her? She's just a bride who's taking her time at the salon. Don't get anxious, dude.
Yes. Gonzalo, why are you here? You're the last person I expected to see.
Yes, I...
Thanksgiving night, the MLW World Heavyweight Championship on the line. I don't know if you noticed the deep breath coming from Ross Von Erich. He is focused. This might be the biggest match in his career. Sling Blade takes down Jacob Fatu. Ross now, missile drop kick connecting. Ross Von Erich flying Ross body. Oh, come on now, Semile's gonna chair. The referee is down. Drop kick through the chair to Semile's head. Ross is finally gonna get a little help. What the hell? What? Come on, Tom!
And welcome back. Now it's time for us to get into the next segment of The Viewpoint. And today we want to talk about matters where we are, Nairobi County. This is a county full and rich of potential, and it's the heart of the country. And each and every contestant would want to be the boss of this particular county. And today I'm privileged to have on set Mr. Njoroge Mushiri, who is running for the Deputy Governor of Nairobi County. Welcome to the program, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you very much, Victor.
And it's quite interesting because getting hold of you is busy. It's hard because I believe it's because of your busy schedule. But nonetheless, we are glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here as well.
Yes.
And happy to talk to you about our aspirations and our plans for the city. Yes.
First of all, I've gone through your resume here, and you have an illustrious CV. You've worked as Chief Operating Officer, Absa Bank, where you left. You've worked as actually for 20 years, spanning 20 years in the banking sector. You've been Managing Director of NIC Bank in Tanzania, Director of Standard Chartered Bank in Botswana, Head of Operations and Service Delivery, NIC Bank Kenya, etc., etc. My first question to you, sir, is why are you living such an illustrious career and venture into politics?
I think it's a very important question and consideration. But when you look at each of us, we must think about ultimately our purpose. And while you could have a good career like I've had in the banking sector, I think it is also good to think about service to wananchi and service to the community and service to the country. And I've been doing this all along my career. And I've only transitioned from doing it part-time to doing it full-time. So I'm quite comfortable and confident that the journey that I'm now embarking on of service delivery to the country, of giving back to the community, is something that I will be able to do well. And it's something that I'm well prepared for. Because it's good not just think about yourself in society, but also what impact and legacy you leave in society. So I'm very comfortable with the
Was it your
position.
personal decision, or you approached by quote unquote external forces that you quit your career and come into politics?
It's my personal decision, and it's a decision that I have made and I had made over time. I had considered over time, and therefore the opportunity to get into elective politics just came at the right time, because now we are now faced with the elections this year, and I decided this time I'm going to be a part of it. Yes.
You know, it's quite interesting because you're leaving a banking sector where it's more of a back office, and you want to venture into where name calling, service delivery, you have to get dirty, quite literally, is involving. But then now, Nairobi is a county of close to 5 million people. How are you going to tackle this?
I think it's in the banking sector and in the kind of activities that I have been involved in, as you've rightly said, I have been part of the financial services sector in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Botswana, in other parts of the world like Ghana, Brunei, and in Europe. The focus is when you serve people, is that you are out there and you have to interact with them.
Yes.
And therefore, when I was doing my financial services duty, when I was doing the transition work that I was doing in the banking sector, I always interacted with people. And while the nature and manner of interaction in the banking sector is slightly different from that which we have in politics, the whole concept is service delivery.
Yes.
And therefore, it's very consistent with the kind of things that I do. And I know there are few rules of the game that are different, but I've watched them, I've learned them, I know how to manage them, and I know what to expect. So I'm very comfortable in the fact that there may be instances where, you know, the kind of interaction I'll have will not be exactly the same as what I have seen in banking.
How is the transition rate like from banking and getting to politics? You know, meetings after meetings, meeting wananchi each and every second, your phone is always a buzz. How is the transition like?
I think it is fantastic because, like you said, I've been in leadership. So when you're in leadership, whether it's in the private sector or in the public sector, you have to interact with people. So people are what you deal with most. What you spend all your time doing is actually talking to people. Like when I was managing director of NIC Bank in Tanzania, part of my responsibility was business development. And to do business development, you have to go out there and meet customers. You have to go out there, visit them in their own spaces where they do their business, and that is in the markets, that is in the shops, that is in the townships, and everywhere else that a business happens that we can actually provide financial intermediation. So in terms of interacting with people, it is something that I have done, and it's something that I actually enjoy. And therefore, interacting with people from a political perspective is just a continuation of that journey, and I'm able to be able to do it pretty well. Obviously, like you said, it's a different kind of interaction, but it's more or less in the same light, and I'm totally prepared.
Do you have a nickname yet?
Not yet. I hope the nickname they will finally give me is one about delivery and about being able to achieve results and being able to mean what we say and actually deliver on our promise.
All right.
Yes.
You talked about business and service delivery. Nairobi is considered to be one of the counties that is the country's GDP base is mostly based in Nairobi. But then now you look at the traders and the trade in Nairobi counties in general. How are you going to maintain this and perhaps scale it up to the next level?
The key thing, and one of the things that we are saying in our program is that we must enable business. We must support business people. We must ensure that they thrive. They not only thrive, but do their work in an honorable manner. We want to create order. We want to create dignity. We want to enable people to enjoy being Nairobian. And to do that, because in the city there are no farms, if you say. So we must do business to be able to get a livelihood and to be able to get an income. the government that we form with Honorable Sakaja as the governor, we must ensure that it supports business people to thrive. We must ensure that we do not criminalize enterprise, because we've seen in the past anybody trying to set up businesses, either you have a lot of challenges getting licensing or even getting a place to operate, or even being allowed to operate informally. We need to put structure and order to that, and we want to support them to thrive. So we won't be a partner to the people who are actually doing business in the city, as opposed to be people who are opposed to anybody trying to start up their business. And I know every single Nairobian means well. It's just probably sometimes there are circumstances that they will not be able to do what would expect, and it's ours to actually tell them that this is how we do it. For example, the informal businesses that we see, the people who come out on the streets to sell their wares, to market their wares, we can actually organize that and create order and create times when they can actually operate, even specific spaces like roads and back streets where they can actually sell in an orderly manner, and we don't have to actually always harass them when they're doing their bit. So it is something that we've thought about. It is something that we have seen. We've traveled around the world. We've seen it happening in other jurisdictions. We don't see why it can't work in Nairobi.
Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya, and when you talk of the National Assembly is here, State House is here, we have got so many universities based in Nairobi, we have got UN headquarters in Nairobi, and so much more. The face of Nairobi is quite important. The moment you land in Kenya, your first point of contact is Nairobi.
Yeah.
How are you going to, in your leadership, together with Honorable Sakaja, that when we see you, we see Kenya and we see Nairobi, that dignity you're talking about?
Quite a number of things. The first thing, of course, is to make sure that there's order in the city. So we're going to look at the transport system, for example, and ensure that people can move with ease and dignity across the city.
Yes.
We are going to look at the cleanliness of the city, ensure that we provide sustained and continuous environmental management to ensure that we don't get piles and heaps of garbage across the city.
Which is a big problem, even as you speak.
Yes, I agree with you, and it's something that we will work with, because it's a huge business stream. It's a huge business undertaking that, well structured, can create revenue and employment for people working and living in the city, and that's what we want to do, to make sure that this thrives and moves forward. So and we want to make sure that when people come into the city, because it is a hub in the region, in Africa, as you say, that they're happy to be in our city. We have a lot of things going for Nairobi. The weather is great, the people are enterprising, they're friendly, and we need to be able to tap that and create it, what we're calling cultural centers. We can do even regeneration of rivers along in Nairobi. As you know, we have a number of them, and those can be areas where people see it and enjoy and have a relaxed time and watch the arts, go to the shops, just feel nice to be in Nairobi. We want to create that environment, we want to create that feeling. So I believe that there's work to be done, but we're equal to the task.
Are you aware of the cartels? I don't want to use the word cartels, but the saboteurs of service delivery in the city. When you talk of waste management in the county, and you've correctly put it, that it's a huge business venture for certain people. How are you going to handle that when you take over office?
Yes, we've heard that there are certain interest groups. I wouldn't like probably to use the word cartels, because that has a certain connotation. But I would like to say that how those business opportunities are managed, would like to review them and see how best we can include everybody, because part of what brings out these issues is exclusion. And also the fact that certain people probably feel more entitled to these opportunities than others.
Right.
We want to make the city a city of equal opportunity, that when you come into the city, you are able to thrive, you're able to do your things, you're able to do your things legally and correctly. So we will look at how those processes work. We'll look at the bottlenecks that create corruption, because corruption is actually a product of situations that don't work the way we would expect.
Right.
When I create a bottleneck, and I create an opportunity for somebody to look for an alternative, and usually that alternative involves some form of influencing. So we want to be able to get away from that. We want to be able to create systems that work, and we want to put in place place procedures that also work with our own team. We have very qualified people that work in the city council, but they probably don't have the right tools, the right opportunities, maybe even the right attitudes in terms of training and the work they need to do. So we want to develop them to do that. We want to ensure that we support them to drive that. And I believe once we do that, we should be able to deal with this challenge that that seems to be perennially going on in the city. Yeah.
The battle between the deputies and their bosses in the constitution is somehow silent, and some deputy governors or some people would want to run away with it. But then, do you really understand the role of a deputy governor?
Yes, I fully understand the role of a deputy governor, but more than just the deputy governor role as defined in our constitution, we already have had extensive conversations with the governor, the incoming governor, Honorable Sakaja, and he's already delineated and identified roles that I would be performing as deputy governor.
Yes.
For example, I'll be responsible for the trade and licensing process within the city. We are already looking at locations to build about 20 new markets. That will be my responsibility. Managing the city in terms of the service delivery processes, that is my responsibility. I think I'm going to be very busy. I'm going to be really busy, and it's something that I'm looking forward to, because there's a lot of work to be done, and there's very good understanding between me and the governor that we'll be able to deliver that, and my role is very well defined. So I see no challenge in that process.
When you sit down, the two of you and the committee and the team that is helping you to run the affairs of the campaign, what really keeps you awake at night, the two of you?
I think we want to make a difference in the lives of the people who live in Nairobi, the people who call themselves and who would want to call themselves Nairobians. So we want to have a legacy program, a program that we are saying is a 10-year program with a milestone at the 5-year stop, which is the next election. And we want to be sure that when we are done with the piece of work that we have to do in Nairobi, people will remember that the administration of Honorable Sakaja and Mushiri is the one that developed these particular key programs and changed the way people view themselves in the city and the way they view life in the city, restored order and dignity, and enhanced hope and created opportunities within our residents in the city.
What's your key manifesto? Baby, I know you've not launched it, and perhaps you don't need to burst your bubble right now, but then what are some of the key pointers that you'll be looking at once you take over office?
Yeah, you're right. We haven't yet launched it, but we are very clear on some of the programs that we are going to run. One of the ones that the governor has been talking about very passionately, and we are very passionate about, is the school feeding program. We want in all our public schools in the city to actually assure that the children, when they go to school, they get a meal, so that they don't have to worry about what they have for lunch. The parents don't have to worry about what they have for lunch, and that will enable them to be better learners and to be better understand what they are being taught in school. I think that creates a huge impact right back home, because of course when the parents don't have to look for money for food for their children at lunchtime, even they, wherever they go, they have peace and they can do their work in peace. That's one of the key things that we are looking at. I've talked about the markets. We are going to develop 20 new markets. These are going to help people do their jobs in dignity, instead of sitting on the streets and being rained on, being ran after by the council, askaris, sitting out in the sun. We want them to work in spaces that have dignity, that have got assurance, and they are able to do their business.
But DJ, that has been a problem in the city for quite some time. Are we going to achieve it?
We will manage it. I think what we need is political goodwill, and I believe the governor has that intention, and so do I. And therefore, I think the programs that we have put in place will be able to ensure that we do that.
What are some of these programs?
What I've just said, one of the things, when you put in markets where people can do their trading, then you know that you don't have to run after these people on the streets. But that's the one side. On the other side, we can actually order and create order in the street trade, the people who work in the streets, because, and we've seen it in other towns. It's not rocket science. It's not new. We just need goodwill. What we have seen, I've seen personally in places like Hong Kong, streets where from a certain time to a certain time they are closed out, and hawkers or these people who do business on the streets come with their little carts, and they place their wares on those carts, and they sell from a certain point, a certain time to a certain time, after which they close down, clean up the space, and go back home. And if we create that order, if we assure them that they are going to be able to work, if we assure them that we will not harass them in that space, then they'll be able to do their business. We will also get revenue, and we'll be able to have an orderly city. Because what you want is people to walk out on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday morning or afternoon and just stroll around the city in peace and security, and they can pick up whatever they want to pick from whoever are the vendors on the streets without a challenge and without feeling that they're insecure and they're not exactly in the right place. And the people who are selling these items will also be feeling that they're making a livelihood. We will make people proud to be Nairobians. We will make people proud to live in the city. And that's why we are saying, let's make Nairobi work.
Nairobians will never feel proud of being Nairobians if the issue of insecurity is still at the center stage. We see muggings in broad daylight, executions in broad daylight, the ups and downs between the traders on the streets and the city council askaris is still something that is scaring many people. In administration, together with the governor, how are you going to handle this so that I walk in Nairobi with my head held so high?
Yes, and security is an interesting, is a very critical aspect of what you do, because everything that we do must be in a secure environment. And that is a relationship that we have to work alongside with the national government. But we must address the root cause of these issues, which is basically poverty and the inability for people to have food on the table, and therefore that challenge translates into people getting into criminal activity. So we believe that when we create the opportunity for people to do business in a legitimate manner, we will very significantly impact that. But we'll also have our own management of the security activity across the city alongside the national government to make sure that people feel secure, people feel safe, and people are treated well when they want to have a relaxed day in the city and to go about their business in a peaceful manner.
You're well traveled, and you've been to different countries. Anytime you are approaching a nation, city center, how do you see Nairobi? When you're landing at night, during the day, and you pair with Hong Kong, home away from home, how does it feel?
I think the first thing you want to do when you get into a city like Nairobi is you want to feel that you can go into your hotel in peace, whatever time it is. If you land into a city, that you can find your direction, that you can find conveniences, that you can find people who are friendly, who you can talk to, and you can find things that you need to look for.
Yes,
I think we need to get Nairobi to that level. Nairobi has very many things going for it. Like I said, good weather, good people, friendly people, and all that kind of thing. We just need to harness that potential and grow it and drive it forward and make sure that Nairobi is the hub it should be in Africa, in the world. And it's something that can be achieved. It's something that we want to achieve. It's something that we are committed to achieving. Yes.
Before you take a break, let me ask you this question. The issue of taxation.
Yes.
Left, right, and center. Anything you want to do, you have to part with 20 shillings, 50 shillings, 100 bob, or even 200 shillings. And traders or Nairobians in general feel that their pockets are being drained on a daily basis. Are you considering handling this in the next administration?
Oh yes, we want to do that. Like we said, we want to enable people to do business. We want to make it easy to do business. We want to make it easy for people to start businesses, for people to run businesses. And one of the things that we've picked up that is a big challenge is the licensing regime. You have a lot of licenses you have to apply for. You have to go and queue at City Hall and pay up these levies. And we want to make it easy for people to do to get the licenses that they need to get from their premises, using modern systems, so that you actually don't have to go and queue at City Hall. That will have two impacts. One of them is it will reduce the amount of time that businessmen waste trying to go to City Hall, and two, it is going to remove wastage and leakage from our revenue collection, and therefore it's going to affect to improve our revenue streams, which is what we need to do, which then we can reinvest in ensuring that the trading environment is better. It's going to have a positive feedback, and that is what we are committing to do. We want to make sure that our people don't queue at City Hall when their businesses are closed, when they are not actually doing the trade. And when you do that, you'll have better output, both at the trader level and at the counter level.
All right.
Yeah.
But Gigi, please stick around because we want to take a break, and we come back. I still want to ask you the issue of revenue collection in the county and the spillage that is affecting service delivery to the residents of Nairobi and so much more. That is coming up after this particular break. Stick around.
Sasa ndio masomo inaja officially.
Hey, Kenyanjui, do you have an extra laptop I can borrow from you?
Yani, hapa tuko biashara wewe unaongelea mambo ya kubolo. Kubolo no, lakini kununua iko sawa sawa.
Wait, Julia, you mean there's a school where people are taught how to bleach?
Kamenem. Emojis are those two little icons, the colored ones, normally on WhatsApp or text messages. So, where was I?
Hapo kwa pa. Where that was the other unfinished story, this is another one.
So 17 engagement parties, and none of them is yours. Julia, I ask again, uone sida hapo?
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
They came, saw, and scored their way to the DFB Pokal final. Germany's valiant rivals, SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig, are a heartbeat away from lifting the ultimate trophy of which none has ever won. SC Freiburg are still hopeful of winning their first major title in club history. Meanwhile, RB Leipzig have reached 2 of the last 3 DFB Pokal finals, losing 3-0 to Bayern Munich in 2019 and 4-1 to Dortmund in 2021. It is therefore a moment of truth for these finalists.
So 5 from 6 this season, make that 6 from 7. 35 minutes gone, 3-0 Freiburg. This is history in the making.
As we reveal the identity of 2021-2022 DFB Pokal champion, keep a close eye on this grandest match between SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig on Saturday, the 21st of May 2022 at 9 p.m. live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Thanksgiving night, the MLW World Heavyweight Championship on the line. I don't know if you noticed the deep breath coming from Ross Von Erich. He is focused. This might be the biggest match in his career. Sling Blade takes down Jacob Fatu. Ross now, missile drop kick connecting. Ross Von Erich flying Ross body. Oh, come on now, Semile's gonna chair. The referee is down. Drop kick through the chair to Semile's head. Ross is finally gonna get a little help. What the hell? What? Come on, Tom!
Welcome back, and the viewpoint still continues. And with me today, I have got Njoroge Mushiri, who is running for the Deputy Governor role and position in Nairobi County. Is Governor watching, Sakaja?
I believe he is watching.
Please tell him that we need him on the show.
Governor, the message has reached.
All right. Governor, we need you here. Your deputy is here. If he's not delivering, you know, utampata wapi. All right? Okay. Let's continue with the discussion here. Governor, Deputy, you know what really happens is the issue of corruption is a big issue, and we cannot run away from this. We've seen it in the past. Prosecutions have taken place. Many people have been taken to court. So many cases are still pending in court. But then now, this really affects service delivery. Does it give you some headaches, so to speak?
Yeah, of course, the challenge of corruption is a big one, as we understand it, and it's something that we want to address. And like I said earlier, corruption is a result of frustrated delivery processes.
Yes.
So I don't get what I'm looking for, I don't get it on time, and I don't get it the way I would want it. So I start looking for alternatives of getting that service or getting that solution. What we want to make sure is that we have an efficient service delivery regime. When we have an efficient service delivery regime, when you have fairness in the provision of services, we expect that we'll be able to deal with these monster as we see it. The challenges around the provision of services, therefore the contracts that go with it, the delivery processes that go with it, the payment processes that go with it, and we have to manage all those. We have to make sure that they happen on time, they happen correctly, and they happen without the need for influence. And when we do it that way, then you'll find that we'll have minimized or totally eliminated this challenge. It is something that we've thought about. It is something that we believe we will be able to address. And we're asking for the goodwill of everybody else, not just the employees of the county government, but also the people who go for services, because the process is a two-way process, that they don't get drawn into those situations so that they don't complicate the matters and they don't complicate our efforts to try and deal with it.
Right.
Would like people to get services as they deserve them, when they deserve them, where they deserve them. Yes.
Are you aware that there's some parts of Nairobi which still don't have water?
Yes, water is a big challenge in the city, and part of it is because there has been very rapid expansion of the city. The second thing is that the sources of the water that comes into the city are not adequate. We don't have enough water coming into the city.
Yes.
And the third one is that we don't have adequate reticulation of whatever is available to all the places. And what this then drives to is that we have a lot of indignity in that process. So we don't have water for even for basic things like cooking, showering, and stuff like that. So we want to address the distribution of water in the city. We want to actually grow that network, and we want to look forward to eliminating some of the practices that have developed where people take advantage of that need to then create ancillary businesses that are not exactly legal in my mind. When you think about taking advantage of people's need to be able then to create a water supply business, when in fact what you're supplying is what they should be getting through the county government supply system. I know it's a responsibility of a different body that is owned by the county government, but we need to work together. We need to work together also with the national government in some of the aspects to be able to drive that forward. But it's an area that we intend to address.
Yes. You know, your background is you're a banker, and money matters are very, very, very sensitive. And in a bank, first of all, integrity is very important, and you have to safeguard up till the last coin.
True.
But then in Nairobi, this the revenue collection, we've had cases of system being either crushed, or some people are bypassing the whole system, leading to a lot of pilferage of finances in the county. How are you going to block this?
you know, the process of misuse of systems, if that's the case, if that's what happens across, is something that we can bring an end to. And I personally, I didn't tell you this, I have a background in technology. At one point, I used to teach computer science at the University of Nairobi. So I very well understand technology and understand how to apply technology to create efficiency. And we will look at these systems, we will review how they operate, we'll review the controls around them, we'll review the licensing that we need to put in place, and we review the access controls, the logical access controls that we need to put in place to ensure that they don't get abused and they don't get misused. And once we have a setup that is actually foolproof, then you'll be able to know anybody attempting to do things outside that process. That, I think, we take out all these issues. The second thing I've said is that where we don't have automation, we'll create that automation so that we are able to simplify the process of revenue collection and management of the revenues that we collect. Yes.
You know, being a governor and a deputy governor of Nairobi, you're more of a manager and a CEO rather than a politician. What is your approach? How are you going to make it quite different together with Honorable Sakaja, should you take over power of Nairobi? How are you going to make it different so that we feel that you are more of, you know, managers, not politicians, so to say?
We want to professionalize service delivery. We want to make sure that the processes we put in place are responsive to the needs of the people.
Yes.
We want to make sure that when I walk into City Hall or any office of the county government, that I get my service in a rightful manner. That takes into account that the employee who is serving me must also have the right tools. So we want to make sure that they have the right tools to do their job. We also want to go through a process of reskilling and understanding service delivery, so that we move from a position of we are the bosses of the people we serve to a culture of you know, servant leadership, which is what we want to do. That's what we've done in the banking sector. That's what we've done in all the successful service delivery units, and it can be done in the county.
That sounds like a cliche statement, because once people take office, everything changes.
I think
delivery, servant to the people, and all that. But once you take the mantle,
I don't think it is. If you know Honorable Sakaja well, and I'm sure you do, and myself and my history, you know that we are committed to doing this. We need the people who will work with us to come along on that journey. We want to make sure that they understand why we do this, because it's very easy to have a program, but if the people you want to work with don't understand it or don't even appreciate it, then you have blockages and you have failures. So we want to make sure that we carry along our people, either it's employees in the county government or it's the people we bring in as part of the leadership of the county, and also our stakeholders, other stakeholders, including the users of these services. So we will be able to make the difference, and I believe that we have the willpower, we have the political goodwill to be able to create that change. Yes.
Mushiri, you know, the issue of street boys is still an issue that we're still grappling with as a county and as a city. Are you worried about the upsurge of street boys in Nairobi?
Yes, street boys, street families, and in fact, even
the keyword is street families. Yes,
yeah, and the people who sort of come out, you know, begging on the streets, in the roundabouts and the junctions and all that. It's a sector that we need to address and bring some form of dignity to these individuals. A lot of them obviously have not come from within the city. Some of them come in from other parts, including other countries, and we need to address each of these individuals in their own space. I know there is a department within the county government that deals with this. We just need to capacitate it more so that we can identify these individuals, find the root cause why they are out on the streets, and where we can solve the problem, then we solve it for them, so we are able to reduce the people who are on the streets. It's something that as you know, also contributes to security in the streets. It's something that makes some of our residents not comfortable when they're walking around the streets, and something we need to address. So yes, we have that in our plan to work on it. Yeah.
Because the reason I'm asking this one, you might find at a particular junction, you'll find even 10 people coming from different directions, and you'd imagine how somebody would feel, because the moment somebody approaches a junction or a traffic light, you see them rolling up their windows. That is one. Two,
that's correct.
It's not that it gives a different impression of a city, and we have these street families out there. It paints a picture of a failed system. But are you willing to go down the history as a failed system?
No, certainly not. That's not our objective. That is not our plan, and certainly that's not our aspiration. We want to make sure that we offer solutions to everybody who lives in the city as much as possible. I remember I said we want to make Nairobi work, and we want people to be proud that they actually residents and they live in the city. We want them to be able to go around and say, yes, I am from Nairobi. You can't say you're from somewhere where you're not proud about or you're not proud of. So these challenges that we need to face and we need to deal with are things that would require some investment, will require some utilization, and we need to make interventions that don't encourage more to come through. Yes. Because you could have some interventions that actually encourage more to continue with that as a business line. We are aware of instances where even some of these people have been offered opportunities to work, but because they probably make a little more by what they do, they actually reject the other offers. So we need to make it unattractive to be able to make a living out of that process. But also we need to find people alternatives, things to do, so that they don't have to come onto the streets to beg. And
how would you rate NMS performance so far?
First of all, NMS is, took on responsibilities that should have been carried out by the county government. So while they have done some things that are probably good, like we see some of the cable works that are done around, some hospitals that have been done, some boreholes to provide water in the high-density neighborhoods. We still think that there is some more that could be done, and we want to make sure that when we take government, that we bring in those duties back where they belong. So we want to bring them back into the formal structure of the county government. Yeah.
When I ask that, past regimes, when you say that because some of the duties being done right now by NMS ought to have been done by the county government, but should you take over power of county come August, will you continue with the same progress, or you'll have to resort back to what county governments ought to do?
I think the time for the NMS will also come to an end. I think we will take on those responsibilities, and we will have the right people, the right structures to be able to run those duties. Where they have had people brought into NMS that work in the city that are delivering, the governor has made a commitment to look at how they also be part of the ongoing government in the city. But it is something that you want to bring back to mainstream. We don't want it as a separate entity sitting out there and doing things using the authority and resources of the county government.
100 days in office. What should you expect? Because we'll have to hold you to accountable. We'll bring you back here and give us your scorecard. 100 days.
We shall be happy to talk about that, but we look at like I said, a long-term plan. What is it we want to do? Nairobi has had challenges that have gone on for quite a while.
Yes.
And when we want to talk about 100 days, that would be really low-hanging fruit. Things that you can quickly get to implement. But we want to think of it as a long-term engagement to change the face and nature and structure of the city in terms of how people operate and live in the city. But you can expect to see a cleaner city. You can expect to see order getting restored. You can expect to see the people who do businesses on the streets getting better management and better control. And you can see significant policy pronouncements about how we do business in the city. Business is extremely important in Nairobi, because literally everybody is involved in one business or another. Even those people who are in employment, they have some side hustle somewhere that they do. We want to enable that. We want to support that. We want to be partners in that journey.
How is your relationship with your boss?
Excellent.
Honorable Sakaja.
Excellent. He's an excellent boss. He's an excellent person to work with. He has a good vision for the city, long-term vision for the city, long-term vision for the country. I'm very happy and proud to actually be associated with helping deliver that. Yeah.
Of course, you are the deputy governor aspirant of Kenya Kwanza, so to speak.
Yes, we are.
And during the selection panel, how did they arrive to pick you as a deputy governor?
Maybe that's a question for Honorable Sakaja because he's the person
Yes.
who picked me up. But I think there were very many qualified Kenyans. I'm sure there are. But whatever he was looking for to help and drive the city, some of the skills that I've just told you about and experiences that I've told you about, I think that's what tipped the scale for me in terms of the balance of the ability to provide an efficient service delivery environment, proper financial management, proper leadership and management of the processes and structures that are in the city, and a commitment, a long-term commitment a true commitment to make change happen in the city in an irreversible manner. So I think that's some of the things that tipped the scale for me. Yeah.
You know, City Hall is the operations heartbeat of the county, and in the past we've seen drama, we've seen wrangles between the county bosses and the members of the county assembly. You know, at some point it even gets worse until police officers are called to, restore some order. How is the government, should you take over power, bring sanity and order in that county assembly?
I think the main thing that we should focus on is how we serve our people, and the people who get elected by the citizens of Nairobi to represent them should also have the same vision. And when we align our visions between what they want to achieve and what the governor and myself want to achieve, I'd expect that we'll have a lot more agreement in terms of the things to do. It's been unfortunate that we've seen the kind of scenes that we have seen in the county assembly and in the government in general. But I believe that there have been lessons. There have been experiences that help us understand how best to relate and how best to actually work out our service delivery programs. Sometimes it's out of frustrations, probably. I want something done for my people. It's not happening. They're asking me these questions, and therefore I go into the assembly and you raise all these sort of issues. We want to make sure that every member of the assembly feels involved in actually delivering for the award for the county, and I believe in so doing we'll have less or none of this kind of issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
You said your background as a computer scientist, so to speak, the issue of licensing, the turnaround time is always a big problem for most traders in the county, and you find that they get frustrated at long run. You apply for a license, you have to go to office A, office B, you meet person X, person Z. At the end of the day, you find that certificate, which ought to have taken 1,000 shillings, what I'm going to talk about, would cost you an arm and a leg. How are you going to streamline this so that at the end of the day, I need to walk in, apply for that license, and come out a smiling person and start my business?
Yeah, two things we want to do with that. One, we want to automate the process. So we make sure that you can actually apply for it off your phone or off your computer or in a cyber cafe, right? So you actually don't have to walk into City Hall. The second thing is we want to bring in the concept of a single business permit so that you don't have to go to 10 offices to get licensed to run your business. Let us be the agent for you for that, so that when you come to us, we give you one permit, we know we've covered you for all the bodies that need to talk to you. That is one of the things that we have said we want to get going, and I know it's something that we can achieve. We want to make it easy for people to get into business, and more so we want to make it easy for people to continue running business, which is what we need to do to generate wealth and to create wealth for our people in the city.
Nairobi gets from the national government the revenue allocation, so to speak. Nairobi gets the lion's share. Corruption and mismanagement of finances, the county, is always a big problem. Does this worry you?
Well, of course, where public resources are used in not a very good way, we are not happy and will not be happy. And we intend to block those loopholes. We want to make sure that for whatever resource allocation we get, whether it's the allocation of resources or its own revenue that we generate, that it's actually applied in the right way. For example, we've looked at like the health sector, and we're thinking that we should ring fence the resources in the health sector so that we can provide adequate and acceptable levels of service in the health sector. And like I said, automation is going to take out a lot of these issues that are introduced because of human intervention. Humans are prone to error, and they are prone to influence. Systems are not.
Yes.
And therefore, when you have proper, robust controls around systems, you will eliminate wastage, and therefore you'll create revenues. And like I said, the effect is that you have more money to actually serve the residents. So there'll be, you have a happier Nairobi because of the ability to provide the services you want. And I believe you'll also have a happier workforce because quite a number of employees actually struggle because they don't have the equipment, they don't have the tools to do the job, yet they want to do it. Yet they are trained for it. Some of them we even sponsor, or is even sponsored, trained by the county, but they are not able to do their jobs because they don't have the tools. We want to be able to provide that.
Yes. DG, as we come to a close, tell me, what are your hobbies?
I like reading, and I also like playing golf when I have some time. But otherwise, I'm very much an indoors person, thinking about what's the next stuff to do.
And finally, when you take office, what should we, at the end of the day, say, this is what you did, this is what you did, and that is not what you achieved?
I think when we take office, you would expect that there will be a significant improvement, a step change improvement in service delivery. You'd expect there will be a lot more accountability. We want to be accountable to the people. We want to transform Nairobi to be an attractive destination for capital and for people who want to live and stay in the city. And we want Nairobi to be proud among the world cities that can truly claim that position. We want people to be proud to be Nairobian. We want people to be proud to say, I am from Nairobi. I am Nairobian.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bwana DJ.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. And we're looking forward to having Honorable Sakaja. Please, Governor, wherever you are.
I'll take word to him that you'd want to talk to him.
We need him.
I'm sure he'll be more than pleased to meet with you.
Absolutely.
And therefore we'll be happy to carry on the conversation.
But did you wish you all the best?
Thank you.
Asante sana. We've been speaking to Njoroge Mushiri, who is Deputy Governor of Nairobi, running for that seat, so to speak, come August 9th this particular year. So yes, Nairobians, you've heard it. You have to analyze because you have got several aspirants. Now the choice is all yours. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about matters IEBC, and we have got a commissioner in studio who is going to tell us more on IEBC. Justus Abonyo Nyangaya is a commissioner with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. So many aspirants are in that particular, are yearning for particular seats, different seats, so to speak, in the upcoming general election. So we have got so many questions to ask him. Let's take a break and we'll be right back after this.
After 10 years, Machakos County is gearing up to elect a new governor. How well do you know the candidates and what do they have to offer? KBC Channel 1 has organized a gubernatorial debate for Machakos aspirants this Thursday, 19th May, live from Scott Christian University, Machakos, exclusively on KBC Channel 1.
I seriously think Julieta's losing her mind.
I am going to my daughter's wedding.
Wait a minute, are you serious?
I am absolutely serious.
Paulina doesn't show up, you may just achieve your goal. And if she does, I swear that I will send Gonzalo Morat to prison. I don't believe this.
You don't think that something has happened to her, do you? She's just a bride who's taking her time at the salon. Don't get anxious, dude.
Yes. Gonzalo, why are you here? You're the last person I expected to see.
Yes, I...
Kwa mimi ni wewe, ningetafuta passport, nikatafuta visa, nikatafuta nyasi za watu.
Wako na baba kwa hatutaki hapa, so we don't have a choice.
Mom, that's not right.
Inajaribu kukusaidia, lakini wewe uharibu kila kitu. Achaje! Achaje! Mimi nikikwambia ni ufuate jambo, wewe unaona mimi mjinga sana, si ndio? Wewe huwezi kuelewana na mtu yote bila ya kutiana mangumi.
All right, welcome back, and the conversation still continues. Now we are flipping the tide a bit, and let's talk matters IEBC, Electoral and Boundaries Commission. After the county politics, now let's talk national politics. And the person to help me to get this agenda right is Justice Abonyo Nyangaya, who is a commissioner with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Welcome to the studio, Bwana Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Victor, for having me.
Asante sana. Your commission must be busy right now, so to speak.
We are up to here, very busy, but we still have time to come to the studio to talk to Kenyans.
Yes.
Yes.
What keeps you busy?
Lots of things. We are making preparations for the 9th of August 2022. That is the election day. And the election is a process.
It's a process.
And it's a process that takes about a year. If you look at our operation plan, it is planned in such a way that it rolls into one another.
Right.
And they are time bound in such a way that if one misses the deadline, it affects the whole setup.
Yes.
And so right now, as you have seen, this is now the period of political parties to be coming to us, to be submitting names. It could be names of independent candidates, could be names of party candidates, could be names of presidential and their deputies. And then we move into something else.
Yes.
Right now, of course, at the beginning of the year, we were dealing with registration of
which was a
voters.
continuous process. As per the law, it should be so.
It is. And that is what we are following. It is a continuous process. But then we actually came up with what is called the enhanced voter registration.
Yes.
Which meant, therefore, that we take our kits of registration closer to the people, almost to their doors.
Right.
So that we can pick a lot more candidates that are interested. And we realized that last year, from 2018, after the election, up to September of last year,
Yes.
which is about 4 years,
right,
we had only done 180,000 registered voters.
That is way below the target.
Now, that was a continuous voter registration. So we thought that, is it because the constituency offices is far from where people ordinarily are? And therefore, that is when we came up with enhanced voter registration.
Yes.
To now take the kits closer to the people. Then we were thinking we will actually come up with over 4.5 million, but we didn't. So we said, no, this is not looking good. Why are people not coming? And we repeated that in January, February.
Yes.
And then the continuous voter registration also continued until we suspended it on the 28th of April to make way for audit of register.
Yes.
So that, but to also make way to consolidate our register, so that everybody who had registered and those who had transferred their votes from one station to another find themselves in the register.
Yes.
And right now, we are doing verification.
Which is the process right now?
Which is the process right now?
The cleanup.
The cleanup. We are asking you, do you think your details are in our register? Please go and check. Go and check, and if you think that we may have gotten your name wrong in the system, correct it. How about your ID number? Correct it. We want people to verify that. That actually offers credibility to the process of the register containing about 21.9 million people. We want to find out if you are in there. If you are not in there, then we need to find out why.
Yes.
And we need to include you. But if you had registered as a voter, we have all your details. You don't even have to walk around with a voter registration card. Not at all.
That sounds interesting, because let me go back to the issue of voter registration. Why did IEBC not meet the target, the 4.5 million target that you had? What were some of the underlying issues when you did your post-mortem as a commission, as a body?
We have not done a post-mortem.
That is dangerous.
No, it's not dangerous, because this is not the time for the post-mortem. We do post-mortem after the election and try to find out exactly why. What we did, we offered people the opportunity to come and register. That is their responsibility, and it is our responsibility. It is like a clap.
Right.
You don't use your one hand to clap, you use two. And again, in this country, the law requires people to come and register, but do not force them. Yes.
Somebody said that IEBC did not carry out a proper sensitization.
Well,
Civic
I mean,
education, so to
the
speak.
verdict is still out. We do voter education, but not civic education. And let me just tell you the difference between the two. Voter education is to teach you how to vote. When you get the ballot paper and you like the candidate, you mark against that candidate's picture and name. And we tell them that if you don't like another candidate, don't put X, just put a mark, a tick. Then you do this, then you do this, then you take this, and then you put it in the box.
Right.
That is voter education. Civic education is telling you that you need to choose your leaders wisely. Listen to people, listen to their ideology. Is this leader going to give you services? And who are the people that are already out there, and how do you choose? That is not our business. That's the business of political parties.
Absolutely.
What we did, Victor, we have 2 people doing voter education per ward. And we have over 4,000 wards. Now, if you multiply that 2 times 4,000, those are the kind of people that we employ to give information to people. And then we also are devolved up to the ward level. We have 47 county offices, and we have 290 constituency offices, and we have over 4,000 wards. All these people are there all over Kenya giving information.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, people, the adult learning methodology do with, you give people information and they pick it because they want to use it immediately. A lot of people, because it is really not an election, a month or election day or election whatever, you can give them information and they will never take it because it is not necessary for them to use it there.
Right.
Now, that is possibly why you give people information and they don't use it because they don't need it at that time. We gave people information about registration.
Okay.
And still they didn't come.
Perhaps so many reasons, because one of them was IEBC complained that they were not well funded by back then. That's why they were not able to carry out the registration well enough. I don't know whether you can confirm that. There was an issue?
The issue of funding is there.
But are you well funded right now?
No, we are still in a deficit of about 4.5 billion.
Out of targeted amount of?
Targeted amount of about 39.
It was revised?
No, that is what we gave.
We gave, yes.
Yeah, that's the budget that we gave. It was not revised. Yeah.
From different quarters and political, players, they'd say that, and let me quote, Honorable Raila Odinga said that IEBC can do an election with, not with 39 billion. There is a better way that it can be done. Do you agree with that statement?
Which is the better way?
I don't know.
Yeah. We are the election experts in this country. I think we due respect. Let people give us the space and the recognition that we are the election body in this country. We are trained to run elections, and all the budgets that we did could be verified. Where is it going to? Where is it going to? How much does this cost? That is what we do.
Absolutely.
For a living, in fact.
Commissioner, you work with timelines and deadlines as a commission, and Monday was the deadline for presidential aspirants to hand over the names of their running mates as well as governors. Has that been done?
That has been done, but Victor, you do remember that we had a conversation with political parties about 20 days before that time.
Yes.
And they did plead with us and requested, can we revise this to give them time to sort out this issue of running mate? So we did, because
which lapsed on Monday.
Which lapsed on Monday, because we are a commission that listens. But we are also there to facilitate processes of political parties. We exist so that we give them the opportunity to do this. So we did, and it lapsed. Yeah.
So as far as that is concerned, it's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
Now the next process is the cleanup of the register, which is a tedious job.
Which we call verification.
Which is a tedious job. Are you ready for that particular exercise as a commission?
In fact, it is ongoing. And so far, from Friday, which was the 13th, we had captured about 500,000 people that came in the various ways to verify their details. Can I just take this opportunity to let people know how they can verify this?
Go ahead.
There are three ways in which they can do that. One is physical. You go to the constituency offices or to the wards offices and verify, because we have 3 kits per ward right now, and they are going round.
Yes.
And you can actually check your biometrics.
Right.
That is how you will be identified on the voting day. So when you put your hands on the machine, the details pops up.
Exactly.
And you check if all those details, including the picture, your picture, are these the correct details that were captured during registration? And you say, no, this particular one I don't think is right. Can you correct it? And then our team takes time to do so, to correct, to just take the details and we'll correct it. The second one is through SMS. You key in your identity card number or passport number, whatever you used for registration.
Right.
Then you write. Then you put hash, and then you write the year of birth. Don't write if you are born in 1985. Don't write 85. Write 1985. Then send to 70. Then 000. That is 70,000.
70,000.
Yes.
Commissioner, you know what I want to do right now? Repeat that process again. Then send.
Yes.
Send as a message.
Send as a message to 70, then 3 zeros. That is 4 zeros.
First of all, you have to start with your ID number.
ID number.
So you send to 70,000.
Yes.
Let me just do that right now, now that you're here, so that if I'm not registered...
Yes. Then I will be asking you difficult questions, Victor.
No.
Yeah.
Don't nail me. As I do that,
yes,
the issue of procurement.
But you know, there's the third one. I said there are 3. Let me just give people the third one.
Exactly.
The third one.
All right.
The third one is verify.iebc.or.ke. So yeah, so already about 50,000 people by Friday of last week had already done this. We are ready to do this. The machines are there. What we are looking for are people ready to go and verify. Now that is what we are here for. Yes, that's what we are waiting for.
Okay. What really happens is that the issue of verification process, there are some people who do not have fingerprints, and this has been raised quite a number of times. There are some people who do not have fingerprints because of a reason or another, either through accident, either through by birth, or some reasons. How can one get verified in a situation where somebody doesn't have proper fingerprints?
In fact, I think the question that should be asked is, how are they registered? Because to verify, it means that all your details
are captured. Exactly.
And what happens is that sometimes, yes, we have come across where people really don't have the prints because of the type of work that they do. But we have 10 of them.
Okay.
One has to work. And that is what may have been used. They tried this, they tried this, they tried this, they tried this. They tried all of them.
Yes.
Something worked. That's why they are in our system. Nobody said that they didn't have that. But we have also introducing another type of capturing details, which is iris. Yeah. And if you go from there, there is also the capture of, but we are not doing that just yet, of the elbows. Yeah. But right now, your fingerprints are there because you registered. And that is what we want you to go and verify. Yeah.
All right. Commissioner, the issue of budget has been an issue with the IEBC. Now that you say that you are short of 4-point-something billion shillings,
yes.
Is this going to affect your delivery of the election come August 9th?
No, it will not. What we have done and what we continue to do In the event that this money is not forthcoming from the Treasury, a number of development partners have agreed to work with us in reducing the deficit. But we also possibly reduce certain activities.
Yes.
If they are not very necessary, then we take them out, provided it is not affecting the core mandate of election that we are dealing with. So budgets are adjusted in that way. But some of the development partners have come forth and promised that they're putting in some money. We just don't know how much.
How much?
Yeah.
If my memory serves me right, there was an issue in the past, not too long ago, where the the IEBC itself said that they wanted to be given that freeway to source for funds from development partners, and yet the government said that no, we need to have an intermediary here. How did you solve the issue?
You know, Victor, election is a key thing, a key event, activity in our calendar. It is about selecting and electing the leadership of this country. And we really don't have to have foreign countries coming to help us carry out this key activity. And if the Treasury said that they will fund everything, we believed them. And they did fund quite a bit. But now it is only about 4.5 billion that is not there. And we are still hoping that they will do so. Because it is the function of the Treasury and the Executive to fund IEBC totally and in full. And I agree with the leadership of this country when they said we will fund IEBC 100%. That is how it needs to be done.
Commissioner, I just received a text from IEBC, and I'm registered, so I'm a registered voter, so I mean you're registered.
Oh, good. Congratulations, Victor.
And the process you said was you sent your details, ID number, hashtag, and your date of birth.
Yes.
And you sent to 70,000.
The year of birth, not date.
The year of birth in full.
Yes.
Your voter registration details, name, Victor Law County, Nairobi City, constituency Dagoretti North, ward Kilimani, polling station Mudangari Primary School. So I'm a registered voter.
Oh, very good. I'm very glad. So we have actually just taken your data that you have verified through SMS.
Yes.
So that is going to be noted. I think it's already noted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me talk about the issue of the number of aspirants that we have. We have over 7,000 independent candidates, and we still have elected members who actually went through the due process, and they want to be elected. Does this worry you? Just give me a picture of how that ballot paper would look like, Commissioner.
In fact, the number of independent candidates as of yesterday was 5,600 and I think 94.
So it came down, all right.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, it doesn't worry us.
How are you going to handle this?
We are experts, and so what we will do is you come with your photo. It is set in a ballot type paper, so that it is captured, and then we give it to our experts, those that are experts in developing candidates' picture and identity cards and everything into the ballots.
Yes.
It will still be okay, because last year we also had a big number of candidates independent candidates. You know, independent candidates were not there before. But then I think last year it was quite a big number, bigger than what we have had in the past. But we still managed to do it.
Yes.
This one we will also manage to do it. It is not a difficult. It is just typesetting. Yeah, and our people are trained in doing this. It's not worrying us. What is possibly the issue is it will be too big, it will be too many, but it will be going to constituencies and to counties.
Yes.
Which then means, therefore, that it is not the whole country.
Exactly.
So you pick this bit and take it to Tharaka Nithi, which is not a lot anyway, because the independent candidates could possibly be about 4. There's nothing difficult about that. Then we take to your constituency in Nairobi, another constituency in Kasipul, another constituency. They are cut in that specific way.
Yes.
Per county, per constituency, per ward.
Yeah,
so it is not overwhelming.
So it's the 5,000 is cumulative.
Manageable.
It's manageable. It's cumulative, not as people would see it. Now, the issue of minimum grade. How is IEBC handling this? The minimum grade of certain candidates. It was taken to Parliament. You know, it went to court. Do you deal with this as a commission?
No,
the grades.
We get information from the Commission of Higher Education, and the members of Parliament had thrown that out. But the minimum grade still stands for governors, for president.
Yes,
but the rest. We don't even know whether they know how to read or write. And because we follow the law, Victor, we don't come up with our own rules. It's Parliament that comes up with these rules, and when they pass it, they give it to us, and we implement.
For the sake of clarity, Bwana Commissioner, and speaking on behalf of the Commission, what is the minimum requirement grade for Senator, MCA, Member of Parliament, Governor, and President, in that order? And if you can,
let me start with President.
Please go ahead.
First degree. Governor, first degree. Senator, women, member of county assembly,
exactly,
member of Parliament, and then county member, the MCA. They don't have.
So a degree is not a requirement?
No, the degree is not a requirement.
For senators?
For senators.
Woman representative, member of parliament, so to speak, county assembly members, the 3.
Yeah.
And member of parliament.
In fact, the 4, not the 3.
All right.
Yeah. You know, Victor, before this came, there were minimum academic requirements.
Exactly.
One even included knowledge in the national language, Kiswahili. And there were Kiswahili proficiency tests that were being administered. Then the knowledge that you know how to read and write.
Yes.
Yeah. But now, nothing like that happens. Is in law. So when you come, and you don't even know how to read or write, but you are a candidate and you have been presented by your own party, we just accept you because the law directs us to only deal with presidential, deputy, governor, deputy, those 2 positions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is the total number of registered voters before the verification, as per your data?
21,900,000.
21,900,000.
Yes.
That is before you start the verification process.
Yes, that is what we have in our register.
Yes.
And how this is going to happen, Victor, it may reduce a little bit because in auditing, they will also be removing dead voters, people that had died and they are still in the register. They will remove them. Already we have received from the register of deaths and births about 600,000. So those will be removed. So it may not be 21 point.
It might come slightly
down a little bit.
Yeah.
There may also be certain people that may have registered again because they registered in 2013 or they registered in 2017 and they think that we don't have their details. So they may have registered again in 2022. Yes. Now, some of those are, we call it the duplication.
Exactly.
They will remove that in the process as well. So, while people who are died, we may not remove them 100%, because people die until the day of election.
Yes.
They will not vote because the voting process is you use your biometrics.
Exactly.
When you see a dead person coming to the polling station, even you will run away.
Run away.
Yeah. So there will never be dead people voting because the biometrics is very important.
Okay.
That they have to be identified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner, allow me to take a break and we come back. I want to ask you this simple question of, are you ready as a commission to handle 2022 general election? Let me just take a break and we come back, you'll answer that. And when I ask you, are you ready, you know the question and what it takes.
I know.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back with Commissioner Justice Abonyo Nyangayana, Commissioner from the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. We'll be right back.
They came, saw and scored their way to the DFB Pokal final. Germany's valiant rivals, SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig, are a heartbeat away from lifting the ultimate trophy of which none has ever won. SC Freiburg are still hopeful of winning their first major title in club history. Meanwhile, RB Leipzig have reached 2 of the last 3 DFB Pokal finals, losing 3-0 to Bayern Munich in 2019 and 4-1 to Dortmund in 2021. It is therefore a moment of truth for these finalists.
So 5 from 6 this season, make that 6 from 7. 35 minutes gone, 3-0 Freiburg. This is history in the making.
As we reveal the identity of 2021-2022 DFB Pokal champion, keep a close eye on this grandest match between SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig on Saturday, the 21st of May 2022 at 9 p.m. live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
After 10 years, Machakos County is gearing up to elect a new governor. How well do you know the candidates and what do they have to offer? KBC Channel 1 has organized a gubernatorial debate for Machakos aspirants this Thursday, 19th May, live from Scott Christian University, Machakos, exclusively on KBC Channel 1.
the discussion here, I have Justice Abonyangaya, who is a commissioner with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Today we are talking matters IEBC preparedness as we head towards the poll. But Commissioner, welcome back again. Now, then, the question I wanted to ask you, is the commission ready to handle this election? There are so many, the stakes are there, quite high. Are you ready to the task?
Let me tell you that we are much better prepared this year to handle the election than in 2017. And the reason why I'm saying this, Victor, is because from 2018 to date, we have looked at the 14 issues that the Supreme Court had raised.
Exactly.
And those issues have now been addressed fully. We are better prepared than 2017. And let me tell you this. In 2017, you remember the Supreme Court talking about irregularity and illegality.
Yes.
And they said that the process is as good as the product. Now, some of the illegality that were pointed out were about the coverage of the 11,000 stations that did not have 4G. And what had happened at that time, it was not an illegality, but it was a structural barrier and challenge that we had as a commission. You count your votes, and you need to send, transmit the results. And when you push send, it is still doing this because there is no coverage.
There's no coverage, 4G network coverage.
Yeah, so then you walk to the tallying center, and somewhere in the middle, next to a latrine or a church or a kiosk or somebody's house, it goes. Because all our stations are geo-mapped. The Supreme Court looked at this and said, this particular result was sent at this church. Was there a station at this church? And we said, no, it wasn't. And why were you what were you doing there next to that church? Were you manufacturing votes?
I see it, right?
You see, that's a legitimate question. So what should have been done at that time, which we did not do, was to have gazetted the 11,000 stations that were not covered by 3G.
And this is something you did around 2 months ago.
Right now, we have done this. What the report that I got last week, when we were speaking to political parties, liaison committee, were that 1,111. The reason
1,111.
The reason why I remember that is because there are 4,111.
Yes.
Is not now covered, but the rest have been covered.
Okay. Okay.
Now, the 1,111 stations that are not covered, even if they are not covered right now, we will gazette them. And so anybody who is asking where this particular result has come from, they will know. First, because the KIMS kit that we are using is locked at that
particular station, yes.
And if we walk away with it, people can also follow it and say that this kit is now here.
Yes.
All of them are locked. When they send the result to the station, we will know that this one is the kit that has sent the result to the station.
Yes.
We are much better prepared. And the second thing that I will tell you is that on the result management path, we are not going to send the text. The text is you key in the result and then send. This time, after if you're a candidate, are you going to be a candidate?
No.
No. But if somebody else is a candidate,
yes,
they must have their agents. And the Supreme Court had asked, what do you consider as the result? The result is that piece of paper where everybody else have seen the result, so and so got this, so and so got this, so and so got this.
Yes.
Is this fine? Can everybody sign? And people sign. That is the result. You take an image of it and transmit. Direct to the National Tallying Center.
Yes.
And Constituency Tallying Center.
And you return a copy.
And one copy is placed on the wall, and the original RO comes with it to the National Tallying Center, so that we can verify the image that was an advanced copy. Is it different? Is it different from the physical copy?
Yes.
Now that is what we are going to do. I mean, you look at this.
Okay. Because the reason, Commissioner, it's a bit confusing because this issue was raised around 2 months ago, and Parliament and the political parties liaison committee working with IEBC again raised the issue of, in a situation where a 4G network is not covered, then it will be forced that a returning officer would be forced to walk physically from the polling station to the National Tallying Center. Is that the case currently?
Not even to walk, but they can. Yeah.
The keyword to take the results.
Yes.
To take the physical results, to take the form to the National Tallying Center.
Victor, you do know that we are not dealing with networking of 4G things. That belongs to the communication authorities. We also ask them if they have the ability to do that, they do it. But we rely on support of a lot of stakeholders, and this is one of them. We don't do it, and if we have not done it,
right,
we now try to find another methodology and option of how we need to relay this station, because these people will not stand there with the result until a 3G network is connected, which can take a year or more.
Okay.
So these people have to do something. So what is our administrative option, which we can then explain to Kenyans and explain to everybody? Or travel from the station to the next tallying center with these results. And which ones are those? They are the results from this station, this station, this station, there. Everybody knows, and they can actually trace that this particular result is what was meant for station 21-3 or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So everybody knows where all the results are coming from, including the results that are not from a 3G connected area.
IEBC, as currently instituted, is fully instituted and you're ready to go to conduct the polls, right?
Absolutely correct.
Very good. Very good. The issue of image and confidence is something still questionable based on the previous elections. Do you still feel that you're still suffering from public confidence?
It cannot go away quickly. But there are certain things that have happened within IEBC that can help to dispel some of those issues of confidence. And let me just tell you that 2018, IEBC was taken to court. There were 371 petitions that were taken against IEBC. 371. Of those, only 5 were successful. Judiciary and the courts said that 98% of the work that IEBC had done was very good. 98%.
Above par. Yes.
You know, when a child gets 98%,
that's a pass. That's excellent.
That's excellent.
Exactly.
Now, 5 of these were appealed. And if my memory serves me correctly, there are only 2 that did not succeed. Or rather, 2. Only 2. The court said IEBC did not do well in. Only 2. 371 is a big confidence boosting number. But did you know that? No, you didn't. How many Kenyans know this? They don't. We have not been very good at telling our story.
That is in fact, that's a serious confession.
Yes, we have not been very good at telling our story because we are doing very, very good work according to the laws given to us. And
Commissioner, I need to know.
Yeah.
Mama Mboga needs to know.
Absolutely.
Kenyans want to know the confidence that you are now telling me right now. They ought to have known.
Yes.
Months or even years ago.
Absolutely, we need to be.
Why did you take time, Commissioner?
Some of us have been saying this, but you know, how many people listen to NTV, to KBC, or even read papers, and we have been talking about this. It's just possibly a small percentage. Some of them pick it, some people don't pick it. But this is not information that we are keeping to ourselves now. We are working with it and we are sharing it with people, and people can go and verify that indeed what I'm talking about of those petitions, so many of them were thrown out because IEBC had done a good job.
Yes.
So we are doing this, Victor. And information of this nature also don't go to 21.9 people at a go. Even in a class you teach,
takes time.
But maybe only 20% of students get what you're teaching. So it takes time.
Yes. It said that elections in Kenya is one of the most expensive world over.
Yes.
Just to ask you, have you sorted out the issue of procurement of the electoral materials?
We have done all the procurement for elections, and we are ready.
And it's closed?
It's closed. It's closed.
Okay.
We are now just implementing the process of that. Right now, the ballots are just waiting for the candidates between the 29th of this month and 7th of next month to come to us through the ROs in the constituency offices, and of course the national, so that we get all the details, including photos, and start putting them on the ballot.
Yes.
So that we start printing the ballot. 3 days after that,
yes,
we start printing the ballot. But why 3 days? It's because political parties have a right to withdraw some of the candidates that they had that they had presented
within those 3 days.
Within those 3 days,
yes,
after the 7th. So after that, then they don't have a right to remove anybody or to withdraw anybody.
Are they done locally?
No, it's not done locally. But let me just go back to the elections in Kenya are expensive.
Because it is.
It is, absolutely, and I agree.
We're talking about 39 billion.
Yes.
That's a big number.
And let me tell you, give you just 2 examples.
Exactly.
One is that, 3. One is that we have capped voting at station level, 700 votes at station level.
That's total number of voters per station. 700.
Per station,
exactly.
700.
Yes.
In other countries, you can have in a station up to about even 4,000. But we have capped it at 700. How many stations, therefore, do we have in Kenya? I think this year we are going to have about 52,000 stations in this country. Now, multiply the number of personnel that we need to have per station. Do you know how many clerks, presiding officer, deputy presiding officer, security? Let's just say that there are 5 or 6 per station, times 51,000. That is the kind of money that we are using and the kind of personnel that we are dealing with.
Right.
That's number one. Number two is the ballot papers. The ballot, because we have trust deficit in this country, we cannot even afford to print those things here. And the security in each ballot paper, there are about 9 securities.
That's the next question, because it was raised during the petition during 2017.
Yes.
When CJ Maraga asked the issue of security on the ballot papers, because one would be tampered with, another one was tamper-proof. How is that security feature on our ballot papers enhanced this time around, that at the end of the day, no candidate will take you to court on the basis of IEBC did not take care of the security features on the ballot papers?
You know, please do remember and think back. From, I think, 2013 or the election before, there has never been cases of stuffing of ballots in a box, because the security features are much superior than even the Kenyan money. In Kiambaa, elections that were done last year, last year, somebody tried to photocopy those things. They all came copy, and they just threw them away.
Okay.
It cannot be done.
Okay.
That nobody will take us to court because somebody has taken our ballots and reproduced it. Can't.
Commissioner, we are running out of time.
So that's why it is expensive.
Exactly. We are running out of time, but let me ask you this. Diaspora voters, it's quite an important aspect here.
Yes.
How are you going to handle this?
Yes, we have the ROs already appointed.
Yes.
For the various countries. And so they will vote. And diaspora is very, very important as well. These are Kenyans that want to play a role in this country, in the electoral governance of our country.
How many registered voters do we have from the diaspora?
This is now the second time that we are extending this facility to voters in several countries. In 2017, there were, I think, about just four or five. This year, we added, I think, another 11. I think because people did not know about this too early.
Yes.
And again, there were difficulties in the requirements of the use of passport only. Limited a number of people because they requested if they can use ID. But then we said that if you are in diaspora, if you are in another country, the document that you used to prove your nationality is Kenyan passport. And that's what they, and so use your Kenyan passport And a lot of people said that their Kenyan passports had expired or had gotten lost. So I think we possibly had between 9 to 11,000, I think, voters.
Okay. Commissioner, allow me to stop there. This is a conversation that we have just started this conversation. Until we get to the election date, we'll have more of this because, you know, we have to talk about it over and over again.
Absolutely.
Promise me you'll be back.
Yes, I promise you, Victor. I'll be back. Thank you very, very much for having us.
Asante.
This information that you are seeking from us is extremely important for Kenyans to know their right, but to also participate in electing leaders that are going to give them service.
Thank you so much. That is Commissioner Justice Abonyo Nyang'aya with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. We've tried to answer those pertinent questions, but yes, we have just started, and he's promised that he'll be back again so that we can learn more and get more information to the run-up of 2022 general election. That is where we stop at this particular point. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Good Morning Kenya ends at that point. On behalf of my colleagues and the entire crew, let me just say asante sana and see you tomorrow. Have a blessed day ahead.
Kupata Yes My Love kama skiza tune yako, dial *811 *816#.
Mutiso, wewe nafanya nini hiyo? Wacha nieleza, pana kitu. Pana taka Mutiso.
Mbo sasa hiyo tu unakuja unaanza kunizuzia kwa nini hata sijafanya kitu?
Wewe nieleza Mutiso, hapana leta hiyo kitu taka. Wacha nachukua simu. Hello? Yes my lovely. Yes, I did the dishes.
Kupata Yes My Love, bonyeza *811 *816#. *811 *816#.
They came, saw and scored their way to the DFB Pokal final. Germany's valiant rivals, SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig, are a heartbeat away from lifting the ultimate trophy of which none has ever won. SC Freiburg are still hopeful of winning their first major title in club history. Meanwhile, RB Leipzig have reached 2 of the last 3 DFB Pokal finals, losing 3-0 to Bayern Munich in 2019 and 4-1 to Dortmund in 2021. It is therefore a moment of truth for these finalists.
So 5 from 6 this season, make that 6 from 7. 35 minutes gone, 3-0 Freiburg. This is history in the making.
As we reveal the identity of 2021-2022 DFB Pokal champion, keep a close eye on this grandest match between SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig on Saturday, the 21st of May 2022 at 9 p.m. live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
I seriously think Julieta's losing her mind.
I am going to my daughter's wedding.
Wait a minute, are you serious?
I am absolutely serious.
Paulina doesn't show up, you may just achieve your goal. And if she does, I swear that I will send Gonzalo Murat to prison. I don't believe this.
You don't think that something has happened to her, do you? She's just a bride who's taking her time at the salon. Don't get anxious, dude.
Yes. Gonzalo, why are you here? You're the last person I expected to see.
Yes, I